Welcome to JG's Fight Talk, and I've got Gary Spike O'Sullivan. How you doing, Spike?
Great, Joel, yourself?
Yeah, really good, mate. I finally got you on. I know you've been a busy man, and well, you're never at home, are you? You always seem to be out and about.
Yeah, fucking always kind of, out and about and traveling about. But although with this pandemic, haven't been around as much as I usually have been. Just been spending a lot of time at home, not allowed to travel restrictions and that. But as an elite athlete, we are allowed to travel, to train and that. So I'm actually situated in Dublin tonight in training camp and back in training camp preparing for a fight probably towards the end of April.
Do we know who it is yet? Are you allowed to say who it is?
You know what? I don't even know myself, really. It's just going to be a ranking fight to get me ranked maybe top 15 for a shot at the world title before the end of the year, with a bit of luck. So I think the promoters, managers, etc., they're trying to get an opponent of a good level and maybe a title fight to get me in the rankings, as I said, so I can compete for the world title before the end of the year.
Yeah, well, sounds good to me, mate. Sounds good.
Yeah, hopefully it all works out.
You were supposed to be in Belgium, weren't you, with the lads in a couple of weeks' time?
I'm still going to...
About the 20th.
20th of March, yeah. I'm still going to travel over to the lads. I think I'm actually going to do the commentary on the night. I think it's going to be aired live on Facebook, so I think I'm going to do the commentary for that with another lad there, Alan Donlan, former sparring partner of mine from Limerick. He's living out in Belgium now, so but I'm going to travel out, as I say, and support the lads, and then I think I might be back in Belgium potentially a month later myself, or else it could be in America. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to fight, but I suppose we'll see.
Is that being shown on anything?
Yeah, my fight.
The Irish show in Belgium. I say the Irish show in Belgium.
But it's predominantly Irish fighters. Yeah. It's going to be shown live on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay.
It will be. I'll share the link anyway on my own Facebook page when the time is about, so people can tune in and take a look.
Yeah. You have to send it over. It'd be good to watch them. As I was saying, we were, talking about Niall before we come on, and he's obviously fighting that night as well. And I said, "Oh, who are you fighting, Niall?" We went, "Don't know, mate. I can't really remember his name." He said, "But I can't wait."
He's a bit of a dozy fucker. And he's top bloke, Niall, but he's been known to be a bit of a dozy fucker, though, to be honest. Them heavyweights hit hard, he's lost quite a few brain cells over the years, to be fair to him.
Mate, at least, it's all good, fun and laughs, isn't it? When, you're all good mates. I suppose you won't know all the lads that are going over.
I know the majority of them, yeah, because Rhys Moore, and he's a undefeated up-and-coming fighter from Waterford. He's going. They're all from our gym. Niall O'Connor, the same, another young enough up-and-coming undefeated fighter. He's fighting there. Craig O'Brien, one of my sparring partners, he's going to be there. Hope I'm not leaving anybody out, or else I'll be hearing all about it in the gym. I think that's it. But and bloody Eric Donovan as well. Actually, I killed Eric. He's fighting as well. So, would you say, Rhys? Oh, Jesus. Thanks, Rhys. Rhys is here up in the room with my roommate. He's fighting on the card, and I had to say something good about him because he's here.
Because he's here. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have remembered him, would you?
Nah, he's a dopey looking bollocks, but he can fight. Sorry, Rhys. Not.
We go back, Spike. I'll call you Spike instead of Gary.
Yeah, and sorry, I forgot to mention Ray Milan as well. Ray Milan's making his long-awaited comeback as well. He hasn't fought in 2 years, so he's on the card as well. Sorry, anyway. Go ahead, Joel.
That's all right, mate. No, you keep chucking it. If you keep remembering him, you were saying Niall had lost brain cells, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I think it goes with the job.
Going back to you, mate. Is it 34 fights, 30 wins?
Yeah.
How many knockouts?
Yeah.
It's about 21.
I think 21, the same age as myself. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll stick with that. So what's been your sort of your moment, your big moment in your career so far?
Well, I suppose the biggest one for me really was when I knocked out Antoine Douglas in Quebec. But for myself personally, I had a rivalry with a Dublin lad at Nivershirl, and that was probably the sweetest victory for myself, to be honest, because he was a good lad. He was a good fighter, and he'd been the distance with 2 world champions prior to that. He'd been the distance with Andy Lee and Hassan Adam, and he was a tough fella, and it was great to get the victory over him, and in good fashion as well by knockout. And so I suppose they were kind of my up there anyway, the 2 highlights of my career. Although in 2012 when I fought in Upton Park against Matthew Hall, that was good as well, because I like West Ham United, and it was on my birthday as well, and it was my first kind of major title. So
Okay.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was a great occasion.
Won't forget them, mate.
No, I remember that one forever. Yeah.
No, it's,
I was going to say there for a while there was 80,000 fans at the fight, and I knocked them out, and I done a bit of training, chopping some wood and all that before it, but I said I'd leave it off.
doing the old rock stuff.
The carrot frog stuff, I call it.
So what? Going back to I know you don't really want to talk about it. Your last fight, which was an absolute war, to be honest. I watched it today, and it was just watching. Like, I think even the commentator said it's like 2 guys don't know how to go backwards. They're just coming forward the whole time, and it was the 2 of you literally throwing punches the entire time. It was pretty incredible. Even though it wasn't the outcome you wanted, it was a hell of a fight to watch. And I will go back to he gave you I think it was a shot in the nuts, which took you about, I don't know how long to recover, but it was a hell of a.
I've no problem going back on that fight. It's not something that I don't want to talk about. I'm very willing to talk about it, but he never actually hit me in the nuts, believe it or not. It might look like that, but he actually kept on hitting me, and he hit me several times around the hip flexor and kind of dead in my leg. That's what actually happened in the 11th round. I actually kind of fell over more from a dead leg than as such being knocked over with punches, if you look back at it. I wanted to continue as well in that fight. I thought I felt like okay, but he's a good fighter, and he's a bit bigger than me, and he couldn't make junior middleweight. We were scheduled to fight at junior middleweight for the world title, but he couldn't make the weight, so he vacated the title and moved up to middleweight. And then I had to move up to middleweight myself. So but I'll be back at junior middleweight now, and looking to get a hold of the world title there. But it was a good fight. It's a Mexican style fight. He's an undefeated young Mexican guy, and he's a good fighter, and I enjoyed the fight, and it's one to look back on. I think it was a good scrap.
Yeah, of course, mate. It was a hell of a scrap, especially when you look at the Mexicans that have come over recently. If we touch on that, they've been shocking, haven't they? As in, like, they've been shocking a lot of our lads over here. Warrington being done over. They've just been taken apart. The Mexicans seem to be loving it, don't they, over here at the moment? Yeah,
and Canelo as well with Callum Smith. They're just a tough fighting background. They're tough SOBs. But I've always been a big fan of Mexican fighters, and I tried to fight kind of stylistically like a Mexican myself, and I enjoy that type of fight to watch. I don't like the moving around so much, picking people off, winning on points. I like to watch a fight in boxing, so I like to have a fight myself. And but I've seen those fights about with Josh Warrington. That was a bit of a surprise. Fair play to the guy he fought, and fair play to Josh as well. He came out and was full of praise from after the fight. I met Josh before. He's a very nice guy, and but I'm sure he'll come back.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people said about the crowd situation, didn't they? And he's a very much a fighter that rides off the crowd, doesn't he? Really, the crowd get behind him and really cheer him along. And I think he struggled with the lack of atmosphere, didn't he? Where the Mexican was just there for war, basically, wasn't he? And
I think I tweeted prior to the fight, just before Josh walked the ring, would he miss the crowd before the fight ever happened? And I think he did, definitely, because the support he gets is phenomenal. It has to be up there with amongst the greatest supporters of all time in boxing. I mean, I've been to his fights. The atmosphere is like incredibly hostile for the opponent, and it's fantastic. I really enjoyed it. must say, it was one of the best I've ever been at. It was Leeds, Warrington. It was brilliant.
Yeah, they love boxing up there, don't they? They absolutely love it.
They do, and I think Josh was kind of fortunate in that Leeds United at the time when he came to prominence, the football club was down, not doing so well, and Leeds is a sporting city, and they were looking for somebody to support, and he was winning, and I think they jumped on board and started supporting him. He's a big Leeds United supporter himself, and I think he captured a big amount of supporters from Leeds United, and they've stayed on board with him. And Leeds United, I know, are back in the Premier League, but I think at the time when Josh came onto prominence, as I say, they were looking for someone to jump on, support a winner, and he's a winner. And
he'll come again. He'll come again.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah, definitely.
You touched on Canelo just a minute ago. What do you think? Obviously, going back, the Billy Joe Saunders fight coming up. How do you see that one going? Because you know Billy Joe quite well.
Yeah.
How do you see that one going?
Yeah, I know Billy Joe very well. I fought him and I sparred many rounds with him, and I think he's the fighter of all fighters that has the potential to, possibly outbox Canelo. Billy Joe Saunders, he hits harder as well than people think, and his speed, and timing and accuracy could hurt anyone. Canelo, though, seems to have a phenomenal chin. He's got a thick neck, thick set. He's very strong looking man, and I'm not sure Billy Joe can knock him out because he wobbled Lemieux, who looks another strong, sturdy guy. He wobbled Lemieux a couple of times, and Billy Joe has got great boxing skills and great speed. I watched back Canelo's fight with Lara, and Saunders is, I think, better than Lara, so he could potentially cause him trouble. But my worry with Billy Joe Saunders is, how fit's he going to be coming into the fight? If he gasses out, towards the end of the fight, there's no one else like Canelo to make you pay like he did against what was his name? The most recent one, when he won the light.
Yildirim?
No, the one prior to that, the light heavyweight. No, sorry, prior to that again. I know he's been fighting so often. Oh my God.
I'm not going to keep going.
Kovalev.
Kovalev, yeah.
Kovalev was actually winning on points, and he just kind of, Canelo's body shots are very taxing, and they tire people out towards the end of the fight. And as I say, there's no one better in boxing really than the way he finishes fights and just takes people out with one punch, and he really puts them out.
It's the body shots, isn't it? I've noticed recently. Those body shots are absolutely brutal, aren't they? And he works the body so well, and then he goes to the head without you even knowing. He just works the whole thing. And I think to beat him, it's going to take something special, or later down the line. Really.
Yeah, you know what? Billy Joe Saunders is special, and he's got the skills. But I think, as you say, with the body shots, they're very, they tire people out. They zap people's energy, and Canelo's very high boxing IQ. Billy Joe Saunders does as well, but Canelo, I think he'll go downstairs and try to slow him down and take his legs from under him, slow him down. And then when he slows him down, he's a stronger man, I think. Although Billy Joe Saunders is actually stronger than you think as well. As I say, I fought him, I sparred him. Now, he's a bigger man than me, but he is quite strong. And but I think he'll need to be fit for 24 rounds and be able to do 12 rounds easy if he's to beat Canelo.
Yeah.
And you know what? Will he get the decision if he does win? Canelo is the cash cow.
It almost has to be a knockout, doesn't it? Because when you look at, if you're going over there, you look at the scorecards. Well, it's bad enough over here, but you look at the scorecards over there, you think, is it really going to go against Canelo? He's the cash cow, isn't he? And
absolutely, yeah. I think it's like that all around the world. The bigger fighter, the home fighter, it's hard to get a decision against them, especially if it's close. You're probably not going to get it. Like, it's a rarity that they do. The way fighter get it.
Well, as I say, Spike, I'm looking forward to seeing you back in the ring. To be honest, mate, it's been a while since. I think, was it January last year
January 2020. I was,
Yeah.
January 2020. I was going to say 2019. 2019 was my last kind of training camp as such.
It's scary to think where that year's gone, isn't it, mate? It's just been madness recently, isn't it? But you know
what? But besides the deaths, like, and people dying and all that, and people being sick, I enjoyed the year. I never had a year like it in my life. I got to spend so much time at home. My kids, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I nearly put it down to the best year of my life. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and even time. Have you had time with the mother-in-law or?
Oh yeah, I spent. I'd like to kind of knock into her every day.
So,
Daily visit.
I know we were chatting about it just before, I basically hit record, but you're always bantering, aren't you, with your mother-in-law? And I know it's all in good.
Oh yeah.
But tell us what the worst thing you've done to your mother-in-law.
She just helps me burn a few calories, most days. So she's sound. She's the exact mother-in-law you need. Bit of vertical jogging, but no, I don't know. Something just first thing that came to my mind was, you don't have it, but we got this religious thing in Ireland. It's called Ash Wednesday. It's before Lent in Ireland. So you go down to the church and they put ashes. They put a cross in your forehead, and oh geez, it was like the Wednesday before the Wednesday, and I got the ashtray, and my mother-in-law smokes, and I just got the ashes out of the ashtray, put some on my finger, and she was asleep, and she took a siesta every day, and I just put an X on her head and left her off out to the house, to the shops.
She went out to the shops with it on.
Went out to the shops with the everyone's like, fuck, it's a week early, Sheila, stuff like that. I done another time I went out to the recycling bin, and they took a few cans out of it, and the glass bin took a bottle of vodka or something like that, and she was having another one of her siestas, and I stuck them on the couch and took a picture of her on the couch and said, rough weekend for the mother-in-law. I was getting phone calls off the sister-in-laws giving me grief, saying take that down, because it was actually their mother. Like, usually, as you know, the other ones I put up are only just a bit of crack.
I've seen quite a few of them. I won't list them because in case she does figure out what YouTube is at some point, it might be quite.
She's more into the red tube herself, but that's one. she stars in a few movies and that.
Honestly, mate, I tell you,
Reese over there, he's over there. I can hear him sniggering there about the comments about the red tube. He stars on it himself. You search it there later. He's on littlemickey's.com. You'll find him straight away.
I bet he's so happy to be sharing a room with you, isn't he?
Oh, he loves it. He's just a dream come true for him. I told him he might be as bald as me by the end of the week.
So,
bring my haircut machine.
Explain the moustache. Is it because you were saying you fancy yourself as a bit of a Mexican?
No, I just thought of something different, and I always kind of had facial hair of different natures, and
because you used to have the old sideburns, didn't you?
I had them. I had all sorts of ones, and I just thought I came up with this one day, and I just thought it was a good look, and I just kept it since then. To be honest.
Does the wife like it?
Yeah, she thinks it's she's getting used to it. She didn't like it in the beginning, but I suppose I have it now for bloody going on 6 years, so she
ain't got a choice, basically, is what you're saying.
What is it?
She ain't got a choice.
She hasn't got a choice. She calls it the muff tickler as well. She likes that a lot.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We get it straight from Spike's mouth. But as I say, thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate your time, as I know you're busy and you've got all the training going on and you're supporting the lads as well. You're an absolute top bloke, and I can say that. Well,
cheers, Joel. Well, to be honest, I'd actually probably be cheering for their opponents, because I heard there's bookmakers over, and I'm going to put a few bets on the away lad. The lads are fighting, and I'm probably just going to fucking chuck their towel in there for our corner. Make a few quid.
Oh, mate. But all I say is, you know, thanks for coming on. You're an absolute star, mate, and you've helped me out over the last couple of months with, just talking to me over Twitter and stuff like that. You know, it's.
Oh, cheers, Joel. Sure, that's life's all about. Just help me get over when we can, man. You know.
Yeah. No, you're an absolute star, and I wish you all the best, mate. And yeah, I'll speak to you, and I'll send you my number at the end, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Cheers, Joel.
Thanks for coming on, mate, and I'll speak to you soon.
Don't forget to send me your wife's number as well, and.
That sounds so dodgy at the end.
I said don't forget.
You've topped off the interview by saying send me your wife's number. Yes,
oh God, yeah.
But all I say is thanks for coming on, mate, and
cheers, Joel.
I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate. Nice speaking to you. Take care.
Take care, mate. See you later.
DM me the number anyway. Cheers, mate.
I will. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Well, Spike O'Sullivan, what can I say? An absolute gent, a proper laugh, and he's got all the love in the world for his mother-in-law. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. You've been on JG's Fight Talk, sponsored by Rich's Boxing and Ring Smart, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.